Welcome to Die Hard. Very, very excited. This is my first episode not wearing a hat. I've been picking hats like, oh, this will be the Montreal Expos hat episode. This will be the, hey, when's that, Mike, when's that one time I said that one thing? Oh, that was on the episode where I wore a Pittsburgh Pirates hat. That's kind of how I was like cataloging these. But why? You know, I just got my hair cut. Figure let's just go hatless. Now, all of this means nothing if you're just listening to the podcast, but I just wanted to let just let the people watching know. I changed it up. I went hatless today because baseball season is coming to a close and the NBA season is ramping up. And what a treat that the Los Angeles Lakers are LeBronless. Never thought I'd hear myself say that. Well, I like our team better, and I like our chemistry better right now, currently without LeBron. LeBron's on the sidelines pouting, not clapping, not dabbing up his teammates, which is the least you can do when you're not contributing rebounds, points, and blocks and field goals. You can at least be part of the team like you used to be, and he's being a real brat, which means his ass will be out of here in no time. Trust me, by the end of the season, or at least by the start of next season, LeBron gone. And Austin Reeves has been 50-point games. Luka Doncic, 50-point games. I mean, I like this team. I've been saying it for a long time. Let these white boys cook in the NBA, and it's finally happening. I might have been saying it silly. I might have been saying it kind of like as a playful, as being a little bit of a troll, but it's happening. These white boys are crushing it right now, and they're all on my Lakers. Connect, Luka, Reeves. I mean, we've got like a solid roster of white boys, and they're crushing it. So it's been very, very fun to watch.
As the Timberwolves fans wanted to know, who's number 12?
Yeah, exactly. Well, those are good questions. That's always the best insults, too, is to go like, I'm sorry, who are you? Who's out there? Like, that's such a good insult. It's not good when that player rips you up and starts scoring. You start motivating them. They start slapping the chest going, I'm him. Yeah, and I'll tell you who 12 is. So I love to see it. To give you a quick baseball update, the time of this recording, it is Halloween, so happy Halloween, which means by the time you hear this, there will probably be a World Series champion. It'll already be crowned. But if you aren't paying attention to baseball, the who gives a shits are playing the these fucking guys again. The reason I phrased it like that is because I don't care about the stupid Blue Jays. They're just some Canadian baseball team that annoys the Mariners during the playoffs, especially this year. And then the Los Angeles Dodgers are the 1%ers of sports. The reason we hated the Yankees back in the day is because a man named George Steinbrenner and his whole family, the Steinbrenners, decided to just buy anyone who was available. Oh, Dave Justice is available? Throw him some money. Jose Canseco's available? Throw him some money. Jason Giambi's available? What they would do is they would just accumulate all these guys. You'd have Hall of Famers pinch hitting at age 40. You're like, how is he a Yankee? Like, you just couldn't even, like, Brandy Johnson was a Yankee. They would just buy anyone. And so that's what made people hate the Yankees, is that they bought players to then in turn buy wins, buy championships, buy all this stuff. We've never respected that. You respect a team in sports who develops, grows. Yes, in the modern age, you buy players and they're always being tossed around, but you don't buy all of them. You don't go be greedy and buy everybody. You buy a guy here and there, or a big trade happens, or a big signing happens. But the reason the Yankees were hated is because they just kind of greedily collected any player they could get their money on. So my question is, why aren't we hating the Dodgers for doing the exact same thing? Now, some people do, but I think everyone should. Why isn't it a known thing? Why isn't everyone walking around, even the people that don't know much about baseball, going, fuck the Dodgers? These guys are buying everybody more than the Steinbrenners ever were able to. Mookie Betts wins the World Series with the Boston Red Sox, is one of the greatest athletes to ever play baseball, and the Dodgers are like, buy him. Freddie Freeman wins the World Series with the Atlanta Braves, and they go, buy him. Shohei Ohtani comes to Major League Baseball from Japan, and he's touted to be one of the greatest players who's ever lived because he can not only pitch like Greg Maddux, but he can hit like Barry Bonds. And he can run bases, actually, like as good as anyone that's ever been. Like, he's fast,
50-50.
he pitches, and he hits at the top level. He's a Hall of Fame guy in all of those categories. That's never happened, ever. And so, he comes to America, and the second he's available from the team he chose, the Dodgers throw $1 billion at him. Then Yamamoto comes over, the Dodgers throw money at him. Sasaki comes over from Japan, they throw money at him. Then you've got Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, literally every single player on the Dodgers that they acquired are arguably future Hall of Famers. Now, you've got guys like Pages, Will Smith, Max Muncy, all these other guys that are kind of in that Dodgers staple, and they have been the ones who are getting the little hits and poking the ball around and doing things. In fact, some actually big home runs, some clutch moves, Kiki Hernandez, these kind of guys. But that wasn't who they were banking on. They loaded up the roster of all these things. These guys have come through because of injuries or because these big, rock stars are sitting out or needing days off or whatever it is. That's why it's annoying to watch the Dodgers do this. What makes it double annoying is preachy liberal celebrities in the audience rooting it on. These guys who are like, no Kings, and we don't like, they're like, you're the Kings. You're the kings of baseball, just buying what you want and acting like rich little punks and treating the other teams like they're peasants. Like, I can't understand how these famous people claim to not grasp inequality. They go, I don't understand how it works. Like, we should all be like little socialist commies, and we should all just spread the wealth out, and everybody should blah, blah, blah. We should all make the same if we're all trying to coexist in a society. But then they'll understand that Ohtani's worth $1 billion and Pages is worth $1 million a season. They can grasp the inequality in a baseball stadium. How can they not understand how capitalism works and is very valuable in society? It makes my brain break that they do understand it and they're pretending that they don't, or they just don't care, or I don't know what it is, but it's been very annoying to watch the World Series, even though it has been a good series. All of this to say, I'm just jealous. I'm jealous I'm not in the World Series, and I'm jealous that we don't have an owner who will just buy up everybody. But I think there's some part of the Dodgers fans' hearts. There's some part of the Dodgers fans' brains that understand what I'm saying. And there's some part of their hearts where they go, this feels kind of icky. Forever we're going to, when they're old men, they're going to go, yeah, that team was stacked. I mean, it wasn't like one guy who stepped up. It wasn't like two guys. There is a part of them that is adult enough and mature enough to go, I see why people are mad.
The effect is it's robbed the joy of the smaller things. You can't be happy winning the NLCS with that team.
Right.
So when they win that game and sweep the Brewers, there's no big celebration.
Yeah.
It's like, you're fucking right, where any other city would have been so prideful and happy for that accomplishment.
Yeah, you take the ring, you take the money, you take the success, but there's part of you that knows. This was, even their manager addressed, he's like, they're saying we're ruining baseball. Well, let's ruin baseball for 4 more years and the championships, all this different stuff. Now they're even leaning into it. They're even kind of trolling in a way that everyone around them with this kind of thing. So it's very fascinating. I wish no luck to the Dodgers. I wish they would just do it the right way. Do it the way the Cardinals do it. Do it the way the Seattle Mariners are doing it, which is funny that I'm even using the Mariners as an example because we've been so bad that it's strange to use the Mariners as an example. But if the Mariners were to have made the World Series this year or would have won the World Series, we would have at least been able to be like, dude, we home grew all those pitchers. We home grew most of the players on the team. Yes, we went out and got some bats with Naylor and Eugenio Suarez. But for the most part, the Mariner team was grown up from the Tacoma Rainiers and from the Everett Aqua Sox. Like you could see all those players work up this system. So it's the best example, but the example kind of only works if the Mariners are winning, and we
So do you think going back to a salary cap would be an answer?
I don't have the answer. I'm being very liberal right now. I'm being very Democrat, bitching about all these things with no solutions. I have no solution for it, because if there was a salary cap, that would annoy me.
Because then, yeah, that's anti-capitalism.
And
But
it
then the
annoys
other
me.
thing people have suggested is, what about taxing so there's a floor where all of the other teams have to spend a certain amount of money, and the more the Dodgers spend, the more it goes out to all the other teams. Like, if you're going to spend this much, well, a portion of this is going to go to the other team so they can spend more money on all
I don't
of their
like that
players.
either. No.
Yeah.
Here, you know what I think? You asking me
So
that
you need
question,
to trust them to just be good owners?
Mike. You just did it. In therapy, sometimes your therapist just asks you a question that makes you give an answer, and you have like a little breakthrough. You say, oh, I just needed to verbally work through my thought process to come to a conclusion. That is the answer. Capitalism with honor. Now, I think that is hard. It's hard. You can't enforce honor. And you realize that the honor system really never benefits the honorable. Like it's similar to whenever I crash out on here about healthcare or insurance companies or EBT or welfare or any of these things, even Planned Parenthood. I go, yeah, but it's these people taking advantage of it. Well, you don't want to get rid of it just because some people are taking advantage of it. Capitalism is good, even though there's people taking advantage of it. So what we need is capitalism, but we need honor. We need to teach people honor. Teach people that it's good. Greed is bad, but honor is good. You need to not be greedy, and you can't enforce it, because once you start enforcing it,
Once a year we have the purge and we kill them. Once a year we kill a
I
billionaire.
don't like that. I think capitalism is good. And but like you should be a good person with it, and it's like we need to teach people values and these things. I also don't even like the idea that like everyone is so against billionaires. I just watched a video of Billie Eilish, and she's up on the stage. I don't know why she's there, so maybe the context of why she's there.
Well, because she donated a shit ton of money.
Okay.
She donated like $11 million or something, and they were putting her up there for that.
Well, that's awesome and good
yeah.
for her. But she then like gives some snotty thing of like, there's some people in here that are richer than me. It's like, so?
She was
So
saying
what?
that to Zuckerberg. Yeah.
But so what? Also, listen, bitch, you don't know what people do with their money. You don't know. Maybe Zuckerberg gives a ton away, but doesn't just accept a trophy every fucking time that he gives away $10 million. Acting like you know something about other people's finances is not only arrogant, but it's delusional. Listen, you're richer right now, Mike, than millions of people in third world countries. I don't then go, how could you not give money to them? What if one of these Somalian kids came into your office and just started taking things from you and being like, why do you care? You're rich. I'm not. And you go, I'm not rich. And you go, you're richer than me. That's how these things happen. You can't just assume that like a billionaire is a bad person because he's a billionaire. Billionaires, very often, it's constantly rotating, by the way. People that were once billionaires fall pretty quickly, and it becomes, like this whole like rat race of who's the super hyper wealthy. A lot of them employ most of the fucking world. So this whole idea of like, well, kill a billionaire, ha ha ha. It's like, okay, then watch 700,000 people lose their jobs. And then the whole headline all over the LA Times is, isn't it disgusting? Isn't it sad they did all these layoffs? Isn't it? It's like, well, that's a trickle down kind of thing that happens, is that it's all important. I'm not saying billionaires are good either. I'm just saying this idea that they must be evil because they're rich is wild. Because everyone in our country who makes more than 30 grand a year is a global 1%er. So you're a global 1%er, and you say, well, that's not what 1% means. 1% means that you're in the 1% of the... It's like, well, that's very convenient that you've put the standards on America so that it makes you look like the marginalized group. In fact, how about this? Technically, if there's less billionaires than there are other people in the world, that would technically make billionaires a minority group, wouldn't it? They're small. There's more poor people than there are billionaires. Why are we picking on this minority group? Seems unfair. You outnumber them. You could outvote them. You could you could easily do something bad to billionaires because they're a minority group. I think that maybe we should start being a little more thoughtful to these minority groups.
I wonder what Jesus has to say about the rich.
About the rich? Oh, he has tons of things to say. But I think that he was talking about the rich who aren't honorable. I think that's exactly the same
I believe
point.
he said it's harder for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than a rich man get into heaven.
Yeah, and do you know why he said that? Because the temptation of being rich. So when you're rich, you have all these opportunities, right? You got women in your bed. You got power. You have influence. You have all these things. You are dancing with the devil when you have this much money. And that is what Jesus is speaking to. It's not money literally. It's the idea of, bro, you better come prepared. The devil is going to come after you now because you got all this different stuff. And now you're dancing with all these new temptations. I was a poor person and life was pretty simple. It was hard. It was a very difficult life, but it was such a simple life. No one's trying to have sex with me. No one was trying to pretend to be friends with me to rob me. Nobody was going, oh man, if I'm friends with that guy, it'll help me get an opportunity over here. I can attach his name or I can do all these things. With money comes all this complicated web of temptation. Now that it isn't as simple as rich people bad and poor people good. That's not.
Of course not. But when we talk about some of the wealthiest ways of accumulating money in the world, a lot of it comes from shitty ways, abusive practices.
But we wouldn't even
like
have antibiotics. We wouldn't have inventions. We wouldn't have some of the finest art. All of the best things in life that we enjoy were those people became rich. They got rich off of it. Like that's just a symptom of being, it's
Well, I think it's interesting you brought up some of the antibiotic stuff because some of those people in the medical field, instead of becoming rich, gave it away. They gave it away because they believe this is where it comes to honorable, like you said.
Right.
There's some great honorable people out there. I believe the person who invented penicillin didn't capitalize off it. He said this should be for everyone.
Right.
And shared the patent and things.
It's great.
So that's where the honorable part
Yeah,
of
I think being honorable with it is I don't see a problem with the pastor of my church having a nice car. I don't think that's bad. Why should he have to be poor? Now, does he need 20 cars?
When you see the guy with the Bentley, the gold, did you see the video recently? The guy with the gold Bentley in front of the auditorium of people?
Yeah, and he's going, this is the church's car. They go, can we drive it? He goes, nah. Yeah, exactly. That's the difference is that I don't think you need to fly private. I don't think you need to do all these things. But it's okay. We don't need to villainize money. We make it seem like if someone has more than you, they're somehow corrupt. Some people have just worked really hard and they've earned it. Now, what about these people, Jeff? Am I allowed to hate these people who trust fund kids or these kids who never worked a day in their fucking life and now they have 50 million because their parents go, no? Wouldn't you want your kids to be happy? What's the point of acquiring all this wealth if you can't share it with someone? Why is it so bad that rich kids exist? I mean, they've got their own series of problems. You can't look at someone and go, well, they must have it all. Oh, I don't have to feel bad for them. It's like everyone is facing some sort of battle. You might look at that guy and go, fuck that rich motherfucker. It's like, you have no idea his crippling drug problem and his insecurities about everyone in his life. Or maybe even how he feels like, dude, I'm useless. I got all this money for free from my parents and I never really learned discipline or I never really learned how to do a trade or a skill or anything. And now all my identity is just throwing money around and trying to mask this because people don't realize what's really going on in my heart and brain. Or they have some sort of, there's so many things. Every human being is this unique collection of experiences and traumas and we're all this weird different thing. If AA has taught me anything, when you go in those rooms, You'll see a person and you'll profile them however you want, as rich or terrible or homeless or crazy or cool, however you might view the person. And you listen to them talk and you go, oh, yeah, we all just kind of got some shit, family member died, or a girl bullied you in 5th grade and now you've had an eating disorder ever since, or you're just trying to fit in, like whatever it is. I know that I've got off on a tangent here, but it just seems like the lowest minded people in the world judge people. If you're a good person or an intelligent person, you like to discuss ideas. You don't discuss people. You don't go, look at this fucking guy, or who's she dating, or it's such a low, like, bullshit ass thing. Like, we should be thinking about what is a good idea, as opposed to going, what's with him over there? What's with her? Because her and him are good. People are good, I think. All of this is fascinating to me because I'm obsessed with language, which is why I'm a comedian. I like to be able to talk about these things, and I don't know if argue is the right word because I hate arguing. Arguing means like you need like a winner. Talking means you just discuss. Someone says a thing, you say a thing, it's nice, and you go, oh, I'm going to ponder that. I'm going to be thinking about what you just shared about like the super rich and all that different stuff. Probably for the next like 6 months, I'm going to obsess about that because I'm always like obsessed with kind of like these ideas. Now, the reason I like comedy is because you can take all these ideas and bring them up on stage and share them. But why is that fascinating? Because the way people perceive my words is fascinating to me. You know, you'll take a sentence like, as you age, your IQ tends to decrease. And that is just a scientific fact. As you age, your IQ tends to decrease. That's why old people get scammed by new ideas, and these scammers are targeting old people because they have money, some of them, and they're also vulnerable. And their IQ is decreasing. They're somehow like a little less sharp than they once were. But if I go on stage and say old people get dumber as they get old, now the crowd won't accept that idea. They say, hey, did you hear what this guy said about the elderly? What a piece of shit. He said old people get dumb. Well, so that's the same fucking sentence. But language makes it feel different how it's perceived. So men biologically have a physical advantage over their female counterparts. Right? Everyone agrees with that. Men tend to be, generally speaking, more physically strong than their female counterparts. We all agree. But if I say women are weaker than men on stage, holy shit. Like that exact sentiment, the exact sentence, the whole crowd's like, Jesus, what a sexist piece of shit. What a misogynist, you know? But like, if you say 84% of the NBA is African American, right? But I say on stage, black people are better at basketball. Like, black guys are better at basketball. It's just the way it's perceived that is what captures everyone's emotions or laughter or rage or anger or feelings. And I'm obsessed with that process. And comedy lets me play in that world all day. So, like, that's why I think it's such a fun job to have, to get to, like, speak and use my words in all those different ways. It's fun to play with what some people call as statistics and other people call stereotypes, and what some people call opinions are actually facts, and some people call their facts just feelings. And it's all such this complicated thing that comedians get to play with, unless you just want to do crowd work and fuck around or be a wrestler and tell a bunch of stories that may or may not be true from the fucking 80s, or be a housewife and it's really just, you know, a desperate housewife, or what is it called, Real Housewives of Atlanta, and they book a weekend because they're just trying to make some easy money. I care about the actual part of comedy. That's why I think I'm having success in comedy, is because I'm obsessed with the language part of it. I'm obsessed with the idea part of it. Like, I don't know how to say, I don't even know if I'm going to say the quote right, but there's a great quote where it's like, the dog who loves to run is greater than the dog who's trying to get to the destination. It's like I'm a dog who just loves to run. I love the entire process of comedy. There's no end goal or destination. I have some goals, obviously, but it's not about where I'm going to get. I love sitting down at the coffee shop every morning and just writing jokes, and then getting to like do it on stage. Like when like I took the night off of comedy this week, and then I got a text in the middle of the day from my buddy Faisal. He's like, "You want to do Kookaburra Lounge?" Not the greatest club in the world, and if it's Faisal's show on a weekday, it's probably not going to be the greatest crowd in the world. And I just couldn't help myself. I'm like, "Yep, I'll do it." I don't care if I don't know what the money was. I don't think I even got paid. I'm happy to go play. I want to do it. And then there's some dogs who just want the destination. They want the power or the money or the glory. And I'm not that dog. I'm the dog who loves to run. And also, when I say that, I'm just saying it about stand-up. It's not true about other things in my life. But in stand-up, I'm the dog who loves to run, for sure. Let's talk aliens. Do you think aliens are real? Of course they're fucking real, right? I mean, come on. What are we doing? Of course aliens are real. Of course there's other life out there. The controversial Neil deGrasse Tyson, or Neil Tyson deGrasse, or however you say that bozo's name, he had a great quote once where he said, saying that there's no aliens because we know about space. All right, so looking into space and saying that there's no aliens is like taking a thimble of ocean water and saying, look, there's no whales in here. And I thought that was, I'm botching it somehow, but like that, it was something along those lines. And I think that that's true. Like when you realize how vast space is, there definitely has to be some other creatures or things out there. Now, the next question is, are they here? Did they visit us? When we see things in the sky, are those aliens? Are those creatures from another place? Here's a question for you, Mike. If the aliens are visiting us in UFOs, little spaceships, they've been coming here since the 60s or whatever, or maybe even earlier, the dawn of time, all this different shit. Does that mean they're smarter than us?
Probably. I think that's a lot of travel, a lot of things that they're probably dealing with that they would have to encounter and tackle and problem solve to do. Like, they're able to deal with multiple different forms of gravity.
Maybe not, though. Maybe they just got one fucking real smart alien on their planet, and it's like tourism. He just goes, hey, I'm going to shoot you out where you want to visit. You want to visit Earth? Pops it up, and he goes, hey, and don't fucking touch anything when you're up there. And also, don't touch none of the people. Don't land. You're going to get in fucking trouble. Just don't fuck with anything. Just kind of hover above.
So as a species, they're smarter than us. As individuals, maybe not then.
But do you think this, just because they came here, that makes them smarter than us?
I think the problem solving that you would have to do to get to travel interstellarly or however far and do all of this. Yeah, I think you could chart and say, yeah, they were able to tackle X, Y, Z, which would make them smarter than us. But how do you grade smart?
That's my point. It's like we've survived all this shit. Another planet might be like, man, with our system, with the way the weather works and everything, like we've died off so many different times. Those Earthlings, they've lasted a few thousand years. They must be smarter than us to have survived that long. When it gets cold, they make little jackets and they build fires in their cabins. They don't even give a shit about the carbon dioxide. They must be real clever to be living this long.
But it's the interstellar travel part and for them to get here. If there was just if we discovered something on another planet, we could be like, yeah, we might be smarter than them. But I think the achievement of them being able to travel time and space and then into our environment and have it not kill them.
Right.
Like that takes a decent amount of study, preparation, all that shit.
Some people say, oh, well, if aliens are coming here and shit, why don't we know about it? All that. Some people might say that. I also hate when interviewers or journalists or podcasters say some people that saying some people have said it, some people have said everything, so I hate that I just said that. Maybe you might be thinking, well, why don't they just talk to us? Why don't they explain it? Why would you do that? If you think something's dumb, you don't try to explain it to it. You know, like when I leave my house and come to do a podcast, I don't stop a squirrel on the way. Hey, squirrel, do you understand me? The squirrel's going. I go, hey, do you understand? Hey, so I'm gonna go do a podcast with my buddy Mike. I'm gonna talk to people. It's a digital experience. It gets sent to all my fans or anybody who wants to hear me yammer on about bullshit. They can listen to me. And this girl's going, I don't try to explain it. I go, that thing's dumber than me in my world and in all my realities. It's fucking stupid. I don't wonder why squirrels don't try to learn English or Spanish. I just go, they're fucking squirrels. I'd imagine if these aliens are so much smarter than us and they're able to travel through space and time and gravity and black, matter and all this different shit, they probably don't care to explain it to us. We're dumb to them. We're like these little ants. They don't sit around trying to communicate to ants. They go, hey, shut the fuck up. Like, you want an explanation? How about I fucking kill you like a dog? You know, like I don't have to explain shit to you. I'm a superior being. That's how superior beings think. Now, that being said, all the alien stories I've heard, I could tell you they're pretty emotionally unintelligent. I'll tell you that. They really lacking some emotional intelligence. Just sucking us up into their thing, poking around in our butts with no explanation, fucking around with our memories, and coming into my house at night when I'm trying to sleep with all your buddies. You bring your bros around the bed when I'm trying. What are we doing here? You can't. Where's the bedside manner? You know, where's the emotional intelligence? Where's the cuddles? You know, give me something. You're gonna poke around in my dick and butt and then just fucking shoot me back on the side of the road naked and all vulnerable and shit? Like, that is pretty emotionally unintelligent, if you ask me. They don't have titties or pubic hair or anything. All the stories of it, they really lack all the things us humans value. Can we agree on that? They might be more intelligent, but emotionally unavailable. Very emotionally unintelligent. I'd like a nice alien, if he's going to come in my room and do all this crazy stuff to me, put a wig on, like maybe put on like a nice, try to assimilate to what I'm into. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like blondes. Maybe get some titties. If one of these aliens, you guys have the technology to do all this kind of stuff. You could even just wear like a little suit, maybe figure this out. I just feel like it's a little rude to be sucking all these people up into your little labs and then touching on us without consent, might I add. These liberals must hate aliens because it's all non-consensual. They're just little, aliens are like these little genderless rapists. They just come in your bright lights, by the way. That's very alarming to wake up to. You're like, why is my room filled with light? And then these little guys come and you go, hey, who the fuck are you guys? They don't answer. I don't even know if they got mouths. They're just looking at you, and that's scary. And then all of a sudden, now you're floating. You go, what the fuck? And now you're disoriented. You're caught off guard. It's not consensual. And they put you on a table, and they start poking around at you. And then the rest of your life, you spend all this time, you got deep-seated homophobia that you haven't come to terms with, maybe a little sexuality problems, and you start to go, hey, I think they were in my butthole, and now you don't want to tell people that. You don't want to tell nobody about what happened to you. They're going to call you crazy anyways. Now I got to, really... It's a whole thing is my point.
When the aliens do finally talk to us, they're going to be like, for 50 years, you guys were blaming us on all these gay things your uncles did to you.
Maybe.
Why'd you put that on us?
I don't know. I think I would know the difference between some little alien going boo, 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 and poking his stick in my asshole and putting me on a mothership than my Uncle Al just, going from reading me a story to touching on the comforter. And I would know the difference.
One's been proven,
Mike?
one's never been proven.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
all
know.
I'm saying.
That's a strange victim blaming scenario that you just put me in, and I don't care for it. By the way, Uncle Al, my uncle, he never touched me or did anything. I don't know why I used his real name. I love you, buddy. You were always an honorable uncle when you were around the 3 times I met you. But you're
5 if you count his alien outfit.
Let me tell you, he didn't do nothing. It's these aliens. I was going to talk about this, but I think I've been enjoying watching kind of we everyday people call it like the pendulum swaying or the pendulum shifting. They'll say that so often, like when things get crazy one way, the pendulum shifts culturally. So I'm aware of that. Everybody talks about that. That's a kind of everyday thing. But it has been fascinating to watch the pendulum shift back and how surprised people are. If everyone is so aware of this pendulum always changing culturally, then why are they so surprised when they see it happen, like in real time? I'll give you an example. A guy I know is in this big work group thread, and one of the people in the group thread wrote this long, it was almost comedic, kind of punched up thing about like, well, this Nazi that's running our country is, taking away all this different stuff, and I wasn't able to get work for the da-da-da. Just kind of like a very politically charged, while being humorous, actually pretty funny text, into a work group thread. And my buddy showed it to me because it made him uncomfortable. And he thought, everyone thinks in this town, only in Los Angeles, by the way, that I'm some right-wing nut job, which I'm not. I just am compared to comedy in Los Angeles. So he shows it to me like I'm going to be like, you should do this. He showed it to me. And I told him he should write back, hey, I find this to be, pretty political and unprofessional to send in a group thread. And he's like, yeah, but I don't want them to get mad at me and lose. I was like, no, I imagine if you sent some long pro-MAGA, anti-liberal, anti-woke text message, that they would have a problem with that. Why do they have a problem with it? They should. It's political, and this is a work setting. It's just as unprofessional to crash out in some strange pro-Trump MAGA bullshit as it would be to send a text that is that disparaging of conservatives and Donald Trump, and it just lives in a political world. Let's keep it out of this. This text thread is about work. It's not related. And whether anyone in the text thread agrees or disagrees, it is a little too political to be professional. I think that's a reasonable stance to take. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up and why I said that like it's funny to watch people's minds kind of be shocked is because in the last 6 years, in my personal experience, I live in an area where if you're not political if you say liberal things. Liberal things aren't political to people around here. You're allowed to trash the president. You're allowed to be, talk about trans issues or any of these kind of things as if that is common and that's the norm. And then if you say something that's conservative or Christian or Republican, now that is like political and gross, and like, can you believe what they said? It's this bizarro kind of universe. And that's really fun for me to watch. It's fun for me to see people be shocked by it, like a hijab in a cafe lobby is totally fine. You could wear a hijab. Nobody would even say anything. No one would look at you. No one would smirk. But wearing a MAGA hat at the exact same cafe lobby, you're at least going to get some looks. You're at least going to get some opinions, whether they agree or disagree with you. There's going to be some sort of cultural thing, which means we've shifted. We've shifted into... All of you for hundreds and hundreds of years have scoffed at religious zealots. You've said, oh, this religion, that's the downfall of the world. All these wars are because of religion. All of these bad people are because of religion. Racism stems from religion. Sexism stems from religion. And what did we do? What was your solution? You made your politics religion? Now politics have become the religious zealots. You only hang out with your tribe. You don't listen, or it's not that you don't listen, but you don't engage. You don't platform the other side. That is what religious zealots do. Religious zealots go into their house of God or their house of congregation or their mosque, and they stand with their people, and we are the right people, and that we pity the people that don't agree with us. Not only do we think the people that don't agree with us are wrong, but we almost feel sorry for them. When will they come around? And we'll do whatever we can to convert if they're willing to hear it. And that is now what people have done with their politics. You can't just go, oh, my grandpa definitely thinks different than me because he's my fucking grandpa and he grew up in a different time. Why would he agree with the things I agree with? Now it's like, I don't talk to my family anymore. I shut them off because they don't vote the way I vote. They don't see the world the way I see it. They don't accept my gay friend they've never met. Which, how could they accept him or unaccept him? They don't even fucking know him. So it's fascinating to watch people who claim they hate religion act out a religious act. And then also be shocked with the way they're treated or the way they're perceived based on their religious behavior. I said it on one of these episodes, but like watching Brittany Griner, she's one of the greatest WNBA stars of all time. She's a very big person. Big people do great in basketball. That's one sport where the bigger you are, the better you are. Like Shaq hit the genetic lottery to be an NBA superstar easier than anyone else who would have worked as hard as him. There's some other elements involved, but being big is helpful. And BG is kind of like the Shaq of the WNBA, Brittany Griner. And now Brittany Griner, she's great. She's going to have a Hall of Fame career. Is there a WNBA Hall of Fame? It's just something to look up. Maybe it's just in the NBA Hall of Fame because it's still just basketball.
There is.
There is.
Basketball Hall of Fame.
Did you know about this?
First time Google. Looks like it started in 99.
That's amazing. Okay. Well, anyways, so BG will definitely be in there. Brittany Griner will be a Hall of Famer. Like she's a rock star in her sport. But all of that is neither here nor there. She's in a game. She's getting fouled because she's a giant center. You know, they're all hack-a-shacking her. And she walks to the sideline. Now, in the WNBA is getting so much coverage now. There's 900 cameras on every player at all times, no matter what happens. You know, whether a green dildo's going to fly on the court or a player's going to hold someone's baby or whatever the hell happens, we've got video of it, and it's on Instagram every day. Now, Brittany Griner is walking to her bench, and she goes, these fucking white girls, right? Because these white girls were fouling her. In that scenario, they were white girls who were hacking her. Now, she gets in a little bit of, I don't even know if I'd call it trouble. It's not like she got fined. She didn't get suspended. But people on, thanks, brother. But people on the internet are like, wait, whoa, Brittany Griner, you can't just say fucking white girls like that. And she got asked about it after the game. And it was great to watch her face be like, I can't say fucking white girls. And it's such an interesting that is an epiphany to her. Like she had no idea as a grown woman that she can't talk like that. I'm fascinated by that. Yeah, Brittany, you can't talk like that. In fact, the fact that you're shocked that you can't talk like that at the age you are is even more mind-boggling. If you left the game, you say, these fucking Asian chicks, do you see how that sounds different? Oh, these fucking black women. Do you see how that sounds? It's racist, stupid. You can't say a thing like that about any group. Yes, that includes white people. Shocking. White people are people. So you probably can't generalize or say a thing like that. And to her, it was like, what do you mean? We trash them on the internet and we say easy stereotypes about white people. And we say like, oh, white people can't dance and white people, that's always just been a thing. I can't understand how at my workplace I can't shout fucking white girls. Now listen, no one's feelings were hurt. There's no history of oh, poor white girls. There's no systematic blah, blah, blah. There's no, right. But it's still just not how you speak. It's not how you say things. And you could see Brittany Griner's privilege, to use one of their catchphrases, that she was like, what do you mean? There's no words I can't say. So many people grow up in their culture or in their bubble, and they're like, there isn't a word that a black female lesbian basketball player can't say. The dictionary is an open book for them. It was for a while at least. You'd like to say the N-word? Go ahead. You're a black lesbian female basketball player. You're all parts of these marginalized groups. So say whatever you'd like. Go do whatever you'd like to do. And if anyone gets mad or if everyone holds you accountable for your actions, then you just go, hey, listen, I'm a part of these groups. Now, with the pendulum shift, it is fascinating to watch them go, what do you mean I can't say fucking white girls? What do you mean I can't say that I'd be happy if Donald Trump was murdered? What do you mean I can't shout things at an Antifa rally? Like, it's funny to watch it come back and you go, see what it feels like to be held accountable for the fucking things you say? I see it in comedy all the time. I was doing a show in Los Angeles during the pandemic, and there was 3 trans people, 3 trans comedians on the show. And to watch them panic of like, oh God, well, I want to be the first trans person because I'm afraid that the other 2 trans people are going to talk about the same subjects as me. And I was like, see how it's almost more difficult to be part of a majority? Because when you're part of a majority, you're invisible virtually to everyone. You're just regular. You're just this thing. It's almost like that's kind of the motivation of someone being trans or dressing all crazy or doing all these things, because you get to be elevated into this special thing. So you're claiming to be marginalized, but you're almost lifted up. You're almost celebrated. You're almost this great, unique thing. I would argue that's some people's motivation for these groups. Some people have gender dysphoria, or they genuinely believe that, and that's why they're acting it out, but that's neither here nor there. What is interesting is to watch the trans comic go, God damn it, please put me up first, because their whole goddamn thing is just talking about being trans. Whereas a white comedian better be real interesting. Better be real creative, because there's 9 million other white comedians. And if we've got to just kind of talk about, whatever. You'll see it like in Boston. There'll be like one black comic, and all the Boston comedians are like these pale Irish, guys. And so the black comedian, his whole set can be like, I'm the only brother here. Or, look at this. You guys are looking at me like, like this is a lynching. Or, you don't worry. I'll let you take a picture with me after the show. I know you guys never seen a brother before. That is very funny on that night and gets laughs in like a small Boston comedy club. But that's not going to work in other places of the world where there's more black people. Now, so black comics don't have the luxury of being the only black comic on a thing to seem unique and one of their own. So when it's like a show that's all black guys, they're going to have to do different material than that. It's almost, I think it's very fascinating to see trans comics like on a lineup start to panic that once they become more common and there's more trans people and there's more, people feeling comfortable to act out whatever identity they'd like to because they're grown-ups, it's not so interesting. It's not very fun anymore to be the trans person or to be this unique, crazy cross-dresser or whatever, because now everyone's doing it and you go, I don't feel special anymore. And that's a fun thing to watch as the pendulum shifts. I need some water. I'm battling a chest infection and it hurts. I had a cough for like 12 days. I thought it was because I smoked too many cigars in Florida. Went to the doctor. The doctor goes, you have a chest infection. It's pretty bad. I'm going to give you a steroid, but I'm also going to give you an antibiotic because everybody's kind of been sick lately. Take all this stuff. So I'm on all this medication. I've always had a cough, but this cough is productive. So I like it. I'm actually getting shit up. That's an exciting... A productive cough is my favorite type of cough. The reason I'm telling you all this is because yesterday I did Howie Mandel's podcast. And to be around Howie Mandel with a chest cough, he was so unnerved. Yeah, if you don't know, Howie Mandel has like a big germ thing. He's like a crazy person about like germs and sickness and all this shit. And so I just kept occasionally coughing. And you could see him kind of be like, "What the fuck is going on? Why is this guy in here while he's coughing?" Which, by the way, that episode will be out soon. I had a great moment. I don't know how well it will be perceived, but in my commitment to just being honest and being the last cowboy in LA and just being myself and always being direct and honest, I had a little interaction with Howie Mandel's daughter that I'm interested to see how the internet perceives it. She's like peppering me in a very unlikable way. And so I was just being honest. And then she's like, "Do you not like me?" I go, "Why not? Not really. This hasn't been great. I'm pretty uncomfortable." And she goes, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't really know you, if I'm honest, but if this was it, yeah, I don't like you. I think you're terrible." And like, it felt so freeing to say that. And I'm sure people will hear that and go, "Oh, that's terrible." But it's like, I was just being honest. Like, me and Howie have known each other for 10, 15 years. We have like a mutual respect. His daughter, like, I didn't know her, and she immediately started arguing with me and being like snarky and all these different things. So I didn't feel bad. I treated her the way I would treat anyone who would talk to me like that. So afterwards, it was it was interesting to see how the sound booth was like, "Oh, dude, the fans are going to love that." But we'll see. Maybe the fans will hate it. Sometimes if you're a little too direct, it lacks the warm fuzzy that people like. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Also, I don't think... did I record an episode since Atlanta? Do you remember if I talked about it on there? If I did, I might have already talked about this. Yeah. This might be a repeat, but thank you to everyone in Atlanta. Because of my cough and my chest infection, it was like very difficult for me to get through those shows, and everyone was super kind and generous about that. Last night, Comedy Magic Club was in Hermosa Beach, sold out show. I didn't go out and talk to any of my fans afterwards, again, because the chest cough. I apologize. I just didn't want to be coughing on all you guys and make it uncomfortable. But it's going away. It's going to be gone soon, so I'm very excited. I will be touching and hugging and signing and picturing with everybody who comes to my shows coming up November 5th in New York City at The Stand. Very excited for that. That's becoming a once-a-month thing, and it's always awesome. Then I will be from November 6th to 8th at Comedy Works in Denver. I'll be at the Greenwood Village location. They call that Comedy Works South, but it's in Denver. Come see me there. Then I am in Brisbane, Australia, Melbourne, Australia, Sydney, Australia, Perth, Australia. And before I go to Australia, I'll be in Austin. I don't really have any set shows, but I'll be doing spots at the Mothership that night, or those nights, and the 10th, 11th, and 12th. I'll be doing Joe Rogan on the 11th. I'll be doing The Fighter and the Kid. I'm doing Kill Tony on the 10th. So a lot of cool things to be looking out for. Most importantly, thank you for listening to this podcast. Listen, I don't know everything in the world. I could very often be wrong about any of the things I rattle on about. But that's the beauty of Jeff Dye. I just kind of talk, and then people correct me, or people challenge me, or people agree with me, and then we work it out. So this is supposed to be a fun place where I can share all these thoughts as prejudice or as loving as they're meant to be, or designed to be, or accidentally be. So you guys should engage with me. Tell me what you think. Do you agree with the bullshit I'm saying? Do you disagree? Do you like some of it and not others? Do you think I need to work on a different perspective? Should I read a book you've read? Should I hear someone else's opinion? That's what this is for. So comment, share, criticize, engage, whatever it is. I would love to hear and talk to you guys about it. I invented or created this podcast because I clearly have a lot to say, and I live alone. I don't have a girlfriend or a wife or kids or anything, so I need to know if I'm losing my mind or not. Sometimes I'm sitting around my place just with all these thoughts and opinions, and I got nowhere to bounce it off, and I think that this is a healthy and lucrative financial way to share it with you guys and to get into your hearts and brains. And I listen. I'm very receptive. That's something that's good about me. One of my best qualities is I can change my position on something. I posted a video from The Fighter and the Kid It was an old clip, but it was me and Jelly Roll, and I was just talking about how the first time I went to the Ramones museum in Germany. They're from Brooklyn. I don't even know why they have a Ramones museum there, but I went, and this isn't in the clip, but I'll share this. I was walking through the Ramones museum with a beer. I was already pretty buzzed up from drinking before the tour, and as I'm walking through the museum, my initial thoughts as a human and as a male and as a comedian are to make fun of. That's my first thing. Anything that's different, you criticize, you make fun of it, you judge it, you find a joke. That's just how my brain works. But it's mostly for humor's sake. It's not because I have any harsh feelings about anything. It's fun to make fun of things. Make something fun. So as I'm walking through this museum, I'm looking at Joey Ramone, I'm looking at all these pictures, and I'm going, look at these fucking freaks. They're ugly. I don't know if you've seen the Ramones. They're not good-looking people. And as I'm walking through it, I'm having kind of this inner dialogue. It's like, well, Jeff, you're being a little harsh. This is just what the fucking guy looks like. And then I was like, but also, he does have a unique look. You'd remember him. If you saw that guy twice, you'd be like, yeah, I remember that guy. And that's probably pretty good if you're the front man for a band. Then I started thinking, well, actually, it's kind of cool look. I think he actually kind of looks kind of cool. And then I started going, yeah, maybe these guys are all right. And I was able, in my own brain, in the matter of minutes, to convert my thoughts from these guys are stupid, this is gay, I'm out of here, to being like, no, give it a fair shake. And so the reason I'm telling you that story is because I'm pretty swayable. I'm pretty I might sound like this guy's preaching or this guy thinks a certain way or whatever, but I'm open. If you give me a good enough argument for something, I'll consider what you got to say.
The fact you sing 2 Ramones songs at about every sporting event you go to should be right there.
Yeah, they're cool. Yeah. They're great. And I the fact that they have a museum means someone felt that they're worthy enough to be, so that alone should have, but I just share all that to let you know I am open-minded. I am reasonable. If you've got a thing to say, I'll hear it, and so shoot it my way. I love all of you guys. Thank you for listening. Rate, review, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, I love you. Hit the little button, subscribe. If you're wherever you're listening, thanks for being here.